2.6 is that we use the special formulas. Use these three special formulas to factor. Okay, so what are these special formulas? So one is called a plus b to the square equals to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Another one is very similar, a minus b squared. Now that equals to a squared subtract 2ab plus b squared. All right. Now both of them is called complete, what is it called? A perfect square. So this is called a perfect square. Perfect squares. Now there's another one which is a plus b and a minus b. These two binomial multiplied together equals to a squared subtract b squared. Now this is called the difference of squares. The difference of squares. All right. So now, for example, what's happening here is that if I have a question that is 8 squared plus, no, x squared plus 8x plus 16. So now we wanted to notice that my first term is a perfect square. Now my last term is also a perfect square, which is 4 to the power of 2. So you take a look at this formula here. This is a number or variable to the power of 2. The last one is this one to the power of 2. Now what is the middle term? The middle term is 2 multiplied by this a multiplied by that b. So that's the middle term. So now, for example, this one is the 8. It is 2 multiplied by this x here, and then multiplied by this 4 here. See? That gives me 8x. So in this case, then when I factor it, that becomes what is A? A is x here, plus, what is my b? B is a 4 here. This complete square. That's how I factor. So one time I use the formula, then I get my factor. Okay? You can definitely use, so far what we have done, but this is just much faster. Now, given another example. So this is the first example. Now my second example. So let's try to find another one. I have 4x squared subtract 12x plus 9. All right, so now right away you wanted to definitely be aware that this first term here, that could be rewrite into 2x to the power of 2. Now your last term, the trinomial last term, this also could be rewrite into 3 to the power of 2. So right away you can see this is something to the power of 2 as a first term, something to the power of 2 as a third term. Then in the middle should be the 2 multiplied this first a, then multiplied by this last b. So let's take a look at this, 12x. So what is 12x? 12x is 2 multiplied by this 2x is my first here, the base, 2x. And then my base now is this one, this 3, multiplied by 3. See, that is 12x. So now, therefore, this one right away, it becomes 2x, because this is subtract. Now it's subtract 3 to the power of 2. Okay? Now, just to use another example as reinforcement. So now let's see another example. Okay? So another example, let's just find a question somewhere here. Let's see. Okay, so we have x squared subtract 12x and multiplied by 36. Okay, now again, this is just x squared, so this is already a square here. Now 36 we can write to 6 to the power of 2, right? So in this case, definitely this middle here is 2 multiplied by this x. Coefficient is 1, just 1x, and multiplied by 6. That gives me 12x. So therefore, right away, I use the formula. Then that equals to x subtract 6 to the power of 2. Now, let me also demonstrate another question where you have to do one extra step. So what's going on here is, now the question number 4 here is to say, let's do 3x squared subtract 30x plus 75. Now, right away, you should be able to see that every single term has a factor of 3. So let's factor that out, because this is not a perfect square. This is not a perfect square, but believe me, if you factor that out, you will see the perfect square. So factor out the 3, then you have x squared subtract 10x plus, it should be 25. See, now right away you realize that this is something to the square. Now this is rewrite it into 5 to the power of 2. So now right away you will see this is a 3 still here. X subtract 5 to the power of 2. Okay? Now, next question I will demonstrate, it will be using the one called the difference of square. So we're going to see how a plus b multiplied by a minus b. We already did this exercise in class that you know this is a squared subtract b squared. So now how can we go from here back to factoring to these two binomials multiply each other? So let's see, question question number 1. We have a x squared subtract 9. So factor this. Now this is a binomial, you see? So far we always factor the trinomial. So only binomial. It's binomial, you're pretty much sure you are going to use this formula, because the 9 could be rewritten into 3 to the power of 2. So now you have x to the power of 2 subtract 3 to the power of 2. Now you see this? This x is a, this 3 is the b. So then in this case, that becomes to a plus b, which is x plus 3, a minus b, x subtract 3, right? Okay, so what else? Okay, now let's try another one, which is 20x squared. Now subtract 5y squared. Okay, so now if this is 20x squared, cannot be rewrite into a complete square. but we have the 5 to be pulled out. So 5 pulled out, that becomes 4 to the x squared subtract y squared. So now again and again, this 4x squared can write into 2x to the complete square. So now we go back to the formula again. This is something to the power of 2, subtract some other thing to the power of 2. Okay, well then we're going to use a formula, which is 2x plus y and 2x subtract y. Done. All right, hopefully that you could, if you did not get it the first time, replay it. Hopefully this is not too complicated. Thank you for watching.